Hi, Lucy. Hi, Simon. How are you both?
Good. Hi, Josh. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having us.
No, well, thank you both for taking the time. It's great to talk to you. And Lucy, I wanted to start with you because I know you've been part of some really iconic action projects over the years. So when Simon came to you with Old Guy, what was it that drew you to this project and to this character as well?
Well, I really am a huge fan of Christoph, and I think he's very selective about his projects. And I also love that Simon has decided to kind of forego the bigger commercial movies to do things that he, loves. And this movie reminds me so much of kind of a throwback to movies that were in the 70s. Sort of, even though obviously there's a plot, the characters are really the ones that are leading the story, and I love that. It's really between the three of them and how they change and you know how they morph as this journey goes on when they go to Belfast.
Yeah, definitely. And Simon, Lucy mentioned Christoph then. We've seen him play so many villains over the years, but this is a very different, I think a really fun role for him. So what made him the right choice to bring in as and play this eccentric kind of aging hitman that we see him as in this film?
Well, I wanted to do something unexpected in the casting as well as necessarily in the story or the rest of the production. And so Christoph, I think, has got a great sense of humor that he doesn't always get to use on screen. And I think it was a chance to show the audience a different side to Christoph and have him instead of this sort of buttoned up, super bright together character. He's actually the exact opposite in this. He's actually a not a degenerate, but he's living life to the full. Even though he's in his 60s, he's still living like he's in his 20s. And I think Christoph relished the idea of playing that part. So I thought, I had a good shot of getting him because it was something very different and a lot of fun. It's a really fun character. He's a person you want to spend time with, and he's got a great sense of humor, and people like to be with people that have senses of humor. So I thought the audience would want to spend that time with him too.
Absolutely. And Lucy, again, talking of Christoph, the two of you just get so many great scenes together. And I love the dynamic and the relationship between them. So, what did you most enjoy about working with him and exploring the characters to figure out how they would interact and just how we see things develop between them as the story continues?
I mean, they're very old friends, and you can feel that dynamic. And I think when she gets rejected from the man of her dreams, she doesn't want his sympathy or his pity. And, when he kind of makes an appeal towards her with affection and that he can take care of her, she knows kind of you know, what a kind of disorganized human being he is. And it almost makes matters worse. But as the trip continues, she realizes what heart he has. And I think their connection changes and it grows stronger.
For sure. And I loved something I loved about this film is we get to explore this quite gritty underworld of gangsters and crime, but it feels very grounded, very realistic, and that extends to the action. So for both of you, what did you as a filmmaker, Simon, enjoy about exploring that kind of grounded world? And then Lucy, for you to be thrown into that as an actor, how much fun was that?
Well, I love this story because it is in the sort of gritty underworld, but these are very normal people with exotic jobs, and it's set in London to start with, and then it moves to Northern Ireland, in a sort of road trip way. But really, these are exotic characters, that you find wandering around the streets of London. There's, an American, Christoph plays a Polish character, and Lucy is, not sure where she's from. She sounds American. So these are very exotic characters, but in a very gritty world. And they are just having normal conversations, even though their jobs are pretty outrageous and being a contract killer is not a normal job. Their conversations and their aspirations and their jokes and jibes they give each other are all the same as normal people have. And so the jobs they have is sort of secondary to the relationships, and that's what I loved about the story was it's just three ostensibly normal people but with an extraordinary situation, extraordinary jobs.
Yeah.
Well said, Simon. I think that what was also attractive to me was that I was just sort of the girl in it without having to be the one dealing with the action, which I think a lot of people expect me to be doing. And so I could step away from that and just be part of it as that, as a witness to what was happening around them, as well as somebody who was trying to fulfill whatever, uh, ideals about her life and this relationship that she had, which in reality was not something that was real at all.
Absolutely. And just one final quick question for you both. I had such a good time in this world, and I think people who see the film will agree with that. But do you think we could see you both come back maybe for a sequel to continue exploring these characters and these relationships? Because I'd definitely like to see that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I would, speaking for myself, I'd love to because I think you've only kind of scratched the surface of these three characters, and I think they could go around the world together. So that would be a lot of fun. I'd love to come back.
I would be very curious to see how that works out with old guy, like how does that work?
It'd be older guy.
With older guy.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Simon, Lucy, I'm a big fan of both of your work, so it's been a real pleasure to speak to you. And like I said, I had a great time watching this film and can't wait for people to check it out. So thank you so much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you
Nice to see you,
for your
Josh.
time.